Welcome to Warbonnet Trains. Today we are practicing for the Down and Dirty Weathering Contest 2. Hey, this is Dave from Warbonnet Trains. First of all, I would thank the YouTube model railroading community in giving me a confidence to enter the Down and Dirty Weathering Contest 2. I would also like to thank Ron Marsh from Ron's Trains and Things for hosting the contest, and Midwest Model Railroaders for sponsoring the prizes. Also, I would like to thank all the folks that have these great videos on weathering. I'd like to say I've seen them all, but I've spent almost 3 weeks watching weathering videos, trying to find the techniques that'll best serve me. I'm just learning, so I'm not using an airbrush. I want to get the brushing techniques down before I go into airbrushing. So I've watched a great many of them, and they're all so good that without them, I don't think I would have tried this at all. They all make it seem so easy, and for the most part, now that I've actually sat down and tried it, it actually is. So if you've been reluctant in trying it, believe me, it's not hard. Just get down, start slapping some paint on the side of the cars, and it looks good. Honestly, I'll tell you, I feel like I've won already. Basically, what I mean by that is, although I haven't won a prize, I've received a great amount of knowledge. I've set out to do something on the layout. The YouTube community is great in sharing all their ideas on how to get it done. And I picked the ones that work for me. And I try the ones that didn't, but I still tried them. That's what I hope everybody takes out of this is try it. Try it. If you don't like it, at least now you know you don't. But if you try it and you like it, add that to your repertoire. Repertoire, is that a word? Okay. Now with this knowledge, I'm going to do more than just weathering cars. I'm going to venture into other things like structures, weathering scenes, making them look realistic and stuff like that. And again, I'm going to lean on you YouTubers to make sure to get all the information that you all are sharing, and put this together, and hopefully I can make a really good scene, convincible. Okay, so what you're seeing here, you're going to see my practice attempts. Now I am entering the Down and Dirty Weathering Contest. And what you're going to see here is my attempts. My attempts in meaning that I'm actually learning. This is my first shot. I've never done this before. I've collected many weathered cars. I purchased them already weathered from places like Microtrains. They offer a really great selection of weathered cars, and they look excellent. You see them running on my layout every now and then, and they look great. I also buy them from local guys that actually weather cars. I get them from the train shows. And they look great as well. So now I'm going to have my own cars on the layout, and I think even though they're not going to be as good, and I'll tell you, I've done a few, and they're far from as good as any of the other guys that have done them, but they're mine, and I like them, and as I look at them on the layout, I think they look great. So enjoy watching. Okay, in keeping with JC Riptrack's multi-step procedure to do the cars, I decided to try out a few of them. I did review it, and there is a reason why he won the contest. He has a great procedure on how to do this, so I figure I'd try it out. So this is the first car. This is a Concours 50-foot box car. And as you can see by the sides, there's a few things that I like, a few things that I don't like. First of all, you can see the roof. I just did a light fade, and I don't like the fade too much. It really looks kind of grainy. And the green just doesn't really look too consistent to me, so I'm going to have to improve on that. For the sides of the car, there's a few things that I like. One little rust streak on the left side of the door, I thought that looked pretty good. The second thing that I like are the trucks. The trucks really turned out well. And I have the procedure on how I did those in mind. There's a few things that I wanted to do in this car that I didn't get to do, but basically I want to highlight the detail some more. It kind of disappears, especially things like the placards on the door, some of the door hardware, stuff of that nature. Okay, and you can see on the side of the car, this is actually done with pastel chalks. Didn't like it too much. I must have had something on the car because it came out kind of blotchy. Okay, for the next car that I tried, I did the chalks again, but at this point I tried to rub it in a little better. I used, by suggestion of some of the YouTube videos, I used the cosmetic application pads to rub it in, and on this side of the car it worked out pretty well. The blend is a little more consistent. It's actually a little more faded, looks great. On the roof, same thing, looks pretty good. This is more of just a fade. There really wasn't a whole lot of rust added to the car. The other thing I like the trucks on this as well. The trucks turned out really good. So I pretty much got the trucks down. Okay, the next car, again, is a 50-foot box car. This is a roundhouse car again. And on this one, I did a little experimenting with cutting the tips off of the cosmetic applicators. And I got a really good fade on a car. Now this time I did not use, I did a combination of the chalks and Vallejo washes that I used regular paint and Vallejo paint and just watered it down. Okay, so the side of the car looks a little better. The top of the car looks pretty good. I like the way the roof came out. Very subtle. Again, not a whole bunch of weathering on the top. These are a combination of dark blacks with some light rust, dark rust, and on the side a little bit of light rust. Now I tried to get the streaking done on the side, but what I'm having a problem with is the streaking kind of blends in. It more shaded the car instead of streaking the car, so I'm going to have to work on that. Okay, I did work on the door. I like the way the door turned out. The door is more a streak around the edges, which I like. But again, the detail still kind of is hidden. Okay, on this model, and again, the trucks turned out really good. I do like those. Okay, the next car. The next car again was just some light fading. I'm trying to get the fading squared away. Again, using the chalks. I really don't care for the chalks too much. I think I'm going to skip the chalks, which I did. The next car, basically, I didn't use the chalks, and I'll show you that one here in a second. But now this particular one, I really liked how the roof turned out. And the roof was done. It didn't look very grainy. On this one, I used Vallejo paint, watered down really well, and used it as washes. So the color of the roof of the car didn't totally go away. I used some dark staining along with some rust staining. As you can see here, I'm trying to keep the shadows off of it. But I think this one turned out really good. So I'm probably going to use that technique on the roof and just apply multiple washes for a darker roof like I did in the next car. Okay, on the next car, which is this one, I decided to do some highlighting of the detail. Now on this one, I should have blended it in just a little bit more with some of the fading, but you can see that I did get to highlight some of the detail. I think it turned out fairly well. It pops out a little bit, especially on the door. You can see the ladders blend in. You can see some shadows on the ladder now, so the ladder kind of stands out. Also, I used a different color of rust for the trucks. I think they came out very well. I used a little more gray on the truck this time. I think I think it turned out pretty well. You can I used some black wash and along with the rust on the coils, so you can actually see them stand out a little better. On this one, I actually got to weather the knuckle, so it came out too pretty good. I think in the future, since I don't do automatic uncoupling, I'm gonna cut off the trip pin, which I do in a lot of my N-scale cars. Now in this particular car, I really like how the roof came out. Well, this one looks really good. And again, it's a combination of dark rust, light rust, a dark brown, and blacks, and made the varied streaking on the side of the car. Just randomly picked a panel, chose a color, closed my eyes and picked one, and that was the next color of the panel. So I like the effect of that one. That one looked really good. Okay, with this model I wanted to try to do something different. I wanted to try to learn how to make the detail stand out. So I flipped the car over and decided to detail the bottom. I figure if I didn't make it work right, nobody'd see it. So this is what it started out with. It was just a plain roundhouse bottom, cast metal. So first thing we did was painted all the wood brown. I decided to do a dark gray for all the metal features. The details, which were the rods and all the pieces, I decided to do in dark gray as well. And here it is, all the base paints are done. And now we're starting to accent all the details. Here you can see the shading around all the rods. With all of that done, it looks pretty good. And now for the trucks, I decided to do that all rust color, and then do a wash of gray to make it look like it was still had a little bit of original life back in it. And here's a car when it's all put back together. I thought it looked pretty good. And last but not least, this is my last attempt. Okay, on this one I decided to try my the streaking technique. On this one you can see the streaks. Also I highlighted the weld lines on a car, and I'll get a little closer here. You can see the weld lines are well accented. You can see that the hardware in the door is well accented. I do like the way the door turned out. You can really see the clamping rods for the door. They stand out a little more now. They're not quite disappeared into the car. You can see the rivets on the side a little better. You can also see the clamping, the levers on the car. They turned out fairly well. So the shading done a little more subtly actually looks a lot better. Also, you can see the stops for the door. They actually stand out really well. Here's a better example of the weld lines. And the ladder, I think the ladders really stood out on this one. I like the way that this shading done. It came out really well. The ladder now stands out a little more. It looks like there's actually shadows under the rungs instead of it actually being molded onto the side of the car. Okay, just a little bit of streaking coming down off the roof, and you can see on the edge of the doors, the door rails, and on this side. Okay, and let's look at the trucks here. And again, I'm really happy with the way these trucks turned out. I think I have the trucks down. So whatever technique or the technique that I'm using on that. Oh, and by the way, this is all hand painted. None of these are chalks. This entire car was done with Vallejo paints. And the roof, this one I like the roof as well. Medium to heavy weathering on the top. All the seams on the roof were highlighted. So I think this turned out really nice. So for a beginner, I don't think I've done too bad. Okay. Well, that is my practice. I've got a few cars under my belt, so at least I'm going to go not totally green doing the car for the contest. All right. This is Dave again for Warbonnet Trains. Thanks for watching.